You know what feels wrong? When you pay off $726,000 of debt in 7.62 years, and it's not a big deal because we've been doing it over and over again. In fact, we did that in the last video. So, this is how I know it took, or we estimated the payoff to 7.62 years, and then we'll do it again. That's what we're going to do today in today's video, today's session. So, what we're going to do is pay off debt, starting off with making great money with a ton of debt, 10 credit cards, an auto loan, or actually two auto loans, a huge student loan, right? Let's assume we went to medical school, and then a modest mortgage. And then because we have so much debt, we have to live like no one else, which is what Dave Ramsey says, right? And that's what we're going to do today. So assume we have income equals expenses. We have $726,000 of debt. Do we need to make more money to get out of this hole? And when you see this, how you go from, in debt to debt free in under 8 years, it feels very, very wrong. Feels very, 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 very wrong. Does it not? Okay, so we're going to pay it off using something called the velocity method, aka or formerly known as velocity banking, but we don't call it that anymore. And you know what's funny is that this velocity method, I think, is as American as apple pie. You know what is also as American as apple pie? Infowars.com. And Infowars.com is now off the air. And I was thinking, you know what? If it's off the air, maybe we could create like banking wars, right? And actually, let me show you some concept pictures of banking wars. Yeah, here we go. Banking wars, the battle for your money. Hear the truth they don't want you to know. And who might this gentleman be with the microphone, the loud speaker? Oh man, the truth alerts. Savings are weapons. Yeah. And then I had another banking wars picture generated, right? I wanted the AI to put a joke about the frogs, but I couldn't think. I don't know. I don't think it could think of a good one with frogs and financial stuff. But yes, banking wars, right? It's a war for your financial mind. We need to create a show like that, and we need to create an AI generated version of Alex Jones talking about how about the banks don't want you to succeed and possibly the new world order. Okay, but we're not going to do it. But it's off the air. It's off the air. It's just recently happened. But that would be cool if we could create a show like that. Banking wars. But anyway, all right, let's go ahead and start with this velocity method. So, what is it? Well, basically, it's deliberately not saving money. So, here in the average American scenario, we feel really, really bad because we did not have any money saved. But regardless of whether we have money, positive money or negative money, what we're trying to do is that we're always making sure our checking and savings goes to zero, and we're focused on this number called cash flow. See, with the average American banking style, checking and savings and cash flow is considered to be the same thing. It's money left over in your checking account. Whereas when we're doing velocity, I'm sorry, I can't even call it velocity banking. The velocity method, we are dumping all of our money into something called the line of credit. So, what is a line of credit? It's basically a financial tool where you could borrow money, pay it back, and then use it over and over again, right? And so, what we're going to assume is we have a free and clear line of credit. We're going to rank our debts and then just slowly move them into the line of credit to help increase our cash flow. And if you don't know how we calculate the cash flow or how we calculate which debts to pay off, we use something called a cash flow index. And so we have a formula which is the balance divided by the monthly payment. And then um, what this is essentially a ranking system. And the lower the number, that's the one you want to pay off first, right? And actually, let me just take this off. Um, Actually, make it easier, a little bit easier to read, right? And then we can just verify these numbers. I'm gonna be a little bit lazy today. All right, so if you have a low number, that means you want to pay it off first because you get a lot of cash flow for paying off the debt. Whereas if you have a high number, you don't want to pay it off first. You want to pay it off last. Why is that? So, for example, let's say I give the bank $320,000 to pay off the mortgage first, how much cash flow did I get? I only got 1,500. Whereas if I pay this credit card and this credit card, which is 65,000, that's over $2,000 of cash flow, right? That's more than the mortgage. Just why I want to pay the credit cards first. Okay, so that's how we're going to determine how to pay off the debt. And let's go ahead and get these 10 credit cards. So if you sum up the credit card balances, it should be $167,000. But let's just quickly check: 5, 8, 15, 27, 37, 10, 35, 12, 15. Then I'm going to go ahead and sum it up. So it's $164,000. Okay. So $164,000. Now, when we're doing this and we're deep into debt, is the bank going to give you a $200,000 line of credit so that you can transfer your credit card balances? The answer to that is if you need money or not. Because here's the secret of who banks lend to: they lend money to people who don't need it, right? They don't lend money to people who need it, because in the bank's eyes, people who need money are bad people because they won't pay you back, right? People who need money are bad people. That's why they don't lend money to people who need it, right? People who need money are bad people according to the bank. Okay, and so that's pretty much what we're going to do. And so why do we assume we have a free and clear line of credit? It's because it makes the concept very easy to demonstrate. And if you want to see real life scenarios where people didn't have free and clear lines of credit, they had maxed out lines of credit with like 22 debts. That's what the YouTube channel membership is for. 99 cents. It's under a paywall. And we also do live streams. I kind of quit for a while because I had some things going on, but we're getting back into it. Okay, so now the final step. Actually, I gotta do one more step. This is the most dramatic thing. Now that we moved the credit card debt into the line of credit, this is what happens here. Oh my goodness, these payments go to zero, right? We transferred the $164,000 of credit card debt into line of credit, and magically, okay, take a look at this. We went from zero to $5,160.71. Yeah, I know. Do you have that look with the kid from Home Alone? Do you have that face? I know I do. I know when I saw this for the first time, this was the most shocking thing because we did not make more money, yet our expenses have just been auto magically uh, decreased, but not really. We just transferred debt. So just by a simple debt transfer, we went from zero to over 5,000. I know we live in a world where an extra $100, $200 would be amazing. And you look at these salaries, right? And you're thinking, oh my goodness, if I made that much money, I would never be in financial trouble. But here's the truth about making more money, right? When you make more money, okay, you are the bank's favorite target, right? And so the bank is hoping that you're kind of like Goldilocks, where you're not too smart with money in the sense that you know how to pay off debts quickly, and you're not too dumb with money, meaning that you pay late, right? Like if you pay over 90 days late, that's like the biggest sin to the bank. Okay. Right. So now let's take the final step of not saving money, aka the velocity method, which is dumping your entire paycheck, the 11 grand, into the line of credit, and then taking the expenses out, and then rinse and repeat over and over again. And after $5,000, the line goes down by that amount, and with some added interest. Okay, and here's how we do it. Okay, so here's how we calculate the next month. It's basically the previous month's balance plus the previous month's interest minus whatever our cash flow is. Okay, and what's our cash flow? Let me just kind of set this correctly. It's 5160.71, and then we have to calculate the next month. And then what we do is we take the average daily balance, and we'll go do that right here, multiply it by the interest rate, and then divide by 12. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste, right? And then what we're going to do, we see that, oh my goodness, 36 months, 3 years, starting from zero, we paid off all our credit card debt. Isn't that amazing? So we go ahead and do that, month 36. So you see that my previous demonstration, we were able to do this. And then by month 39, we should be able to pay off the auto loans, but I'll demonstrate how that works. So we have this loan calculator right here, right? So what we do with these loan calculators is that we just put in the current month, which would be 36 right now, and then it gives us all the current loan balances, and then you see with the cash flow index which ones you want to pay off. So I want to pay off these two auto loans, right? So I'm going to pay this one and this one. I'm going to copy and paste, right? And then what we're going to do is I'm going to sum it up, okay? And then that's 17 grand, all right? So 17 grand, we're going to move that into the line of credit, okay? So it's going to do that. We're going to do that right here. And I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste. And then this is going to be plus 17679.31. And then guess what happens? These two auto loans got paid off, right? So this one and this one. So now it's 0, 0. Okay, so now our cash flow is almost $6,000. So let's go ahead and now update our cash flow here. So it's actually this number, right? So let me copy and paste one more time so you see that it is correct. So 5924.35. So we just got to update that 5924.35. And then I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste. And then, well, blam, 39 months. Okay, so 39 months, these two auto loans have been paid off. And it is a war for your mind, right? War, financial war for your mind. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so now 39 months. All right, so 39 months. Okay, now what's the current balance? We have the student loan, okay, and then we have the auto loan. Or I'm sorry, not the mortgage, right? So you look at the cash flow index, we pay this off first, okay? Now, when we deal with relatively high cash flow index numbers, so let's say the mortgage and low interest rates, because the line of credit will by definition have a higher interest rates if you know how interest rates work, right? Well, let me actually go over this. The interest rate represents two things. Number one, it represents the risk you present to the bank, and number two is also access to your money. So because the line of credit has easier access to the money, it's obviously going to have a higher interest rate, right? But what I want to say is that even with a low interest rate loan and a high cash flow index, we can still pay off our loans using a line of credit with a method called I called it the sweep. I'm going to call it the sweep. I'm not going to call it chunking anymore. Chunking seems like puking. This sweep. So what we do is we just take a small portion of the loan, move it to the line of credit, and then pay it off with our cash flow. Now you might say, like, why would I do that instead of just directly overpaying? Because I'm going to tell you my number one reason why extra payments doesn't work. It's the default option that nobody does. It's like when people try to go on a diet but they fail. Why they fail? It's too much work and they have to think too much, right? So extra payments is decision fatigue, okay? Whereas if you use, and we'll call it the sweep, HELOC sweeping. I like sweeping better. Reminds me of Mortal Kombat. The sweep, then you just take a piece of the loan and move it to the line of credit, and all your brain is focusing on is making sure that both your checking account and your HELOC goes to zero, and that's it. And there's no thinking involved, right? And you might be like, really? And yeah, like that's not thinking is a major plus in anything you have to do. Okay, so let me just kind of go here and just show you how this works. So basically, what you do is you just kind of use this calculator and then fill in the details. Now remember this part. This is with the 30-year mortgage, but we're not paying that one off right now. And then I'm going to put in the income and the expenses. So what's the right expenses? It's everything except for the loan we're trying to pay off. So it's just these two. So let's go ahead and sum it up. So that's 3527.73. So let's just do this. So 3527.73. And then what is the original balance? The original balance is, let's just see right here, $200,000 at a 7% loan. 7%, 10 years. And then the payment amount is 2322.17, 2322.17. And what's the current balance? The current balance is 149,561.72. So 149,561.72. 561.72. And then, well, blam, this gets paid off in 1.6 years. Okay, 1.6 years. See how easy that is? So let's go ahead and do this. And I'm just going to go ahead and do 0. And actually, yeah, 0. And then 39 months plus, let me just do this. 39 plus 1.6 times 12. That's 59 months, right? 58.2, we'll round up. 59 months, and then now it's 406,000. So at month 59, we just got to find out what the current balance is, and then we just do the same thing. So even if you have a low interest rate mortgage, 3%, 4%, we're still using a line of credit. For the most part, it's fine. The one thing you got to be careful about is moving the entire loan into the line of credit. That's really what you have to be careful about. So I'm just going to show you here, and let's see if I can reverse all this and go back to where we started from. Oh no, I can't go back. Or can I? Let me just see. All right. So this is what we did here. So 320,000. What's the current balance? 289,993. Okay. How much is the payoff? 2.7 years and 16 grand of interest. Now, if I to do this where I move the whole loan into a line of credit, look at that. We pay more interest by doing it that way, and this is interest rate sensitive. So if I do this 15% or 30%, right? Uh-oh, did it even look at this? If we use a 30% credit card and move the whole loan into a line of credit, oh boy, we'd be in trouble. We'd lose 83 grand. But take a look at this, okay? So let's say we did this. If we just did small chunks, small sweeps, 2.7 years and 21 grand, even at 30%, right? So you have to be careful at this stage because this is where you can really screw up. And I would say, like, with this method, this is the only time you could really screw it up. Okay. All right. Well, that's it for today, folks. So you see how easy that was. Um, yeah. So 17 minutes, and we figured out how to pay off $726,000 of debt in 7.62 years. Right? Doesn't that feel wrong? You know, if that's wrong, I don't want to be right. I don't think it even makes sense. Okay, well, that's it for today, folks. This is Krillanta Mentorship. If you made it to the end of this video, type in the comments below Banking Wars. Banking Wars. That's what you gotta type. Banking Wars. It's American as apple pie. Okay, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.